My name's Ben, a crew writer for the Cap Courier. Last week I went to the CSU annual general meeting. Today I'm just gonna go over the highlights of that meeting, what was presented, and the questions that were asked by the members of the student union. The meeting was called to order, but they did not reach quorum, which is essentially the amount of members necessary to vote on certain motions. So the first thing they did is they presented the audited financial statements from last year. Interesting highlight from that is that the deficit that the CSU is facing is actually not as severe as the university's deficit. International students and domestic students pay the same CSU fees, so the cut down on international students affected the CSU less than it did the entire university. When they moved to appoint the auditor for this financial year, the board pretty much proposed that we use the same auditor that we've been using, I think, for around the last 10 years, this firm, Tompkins Wasney. And some students raised questions basically asking why choose this particular firm, and the board of directors pretty much explained that this firm is what is used by the university, not just the CSU. They found to be the best deal pretty much for auditing, and it's a well-respected firm, and they pretty much saw no reason to take a different route. So after that, there was a vote on whether or not to approve this appointment of this auditor again, and it was basically unanimous from all the members in attendance to approve that appointment of the auditor. So it will be Tompkins Wasney LLC for the next year as well. There were two special resolutions that were supposed to be voted on. It had to do with this new officer that they wanted to appoint, the Ethics, Conduct, and Conflict of Interest Officer, as well as making sure that the academic standing requirements would apply to that officer as well. It would still be in the CSU, but it would be outside the board of directors and basically just have the power to actually hold the board of directors accountable. Unfortunately, because they did not reach quorum, they weren't able to vote. It'll have to wait until at least the next time they meet. So really keep your eyes peeled. Hopefully the Courier will be putting out announcements about that in advance, as well as the CSU. After the audited financial reports, the president of the Capilano Students Union, Harjot Singh, presented his board report, kind of just highlighted some of the CSU's priorities this year, sort of student accessibility and affordability, the increase in tuition, and sort of the financial hardships that the university is facing. And he basically mentioned that they're sort of trying to best represent us to the university. I think that's important to keep in mind, that the CSU is here for us. So if you ever have, any questions for them or anything you need that you'd like to discuss with them, they're not affiliated with the university at all. You can find them in either the library lounge or the Maple. That's their head office is in Maple. Okay, so basically the first question in the question and answer period was asked by our own lovely editor-in-chief, Laura. Pretty much asked Harjo and the board of directors, what's the plan to pass those in the future? What's the plan to meet quorum? And Harjo basically responded that the priority was getting that resolution passed at the semi-annual general meeting, which takes place in February. So really it's just up to the students and the students union to make sure that they reach quorum at that meeting if they want to get this resolution passed. So after that, a student asked about the proposed location for a new student union building. Basically, Harjo and another member of the board of directors said that their preferred location for this new building would be the Dogwood building, but that they're still in preliminary talks with the university. So then after that, I pretty much asked for a follow-up on some of the questions and some of the things I wrote about in my last article. Part of their 5-year plan in regards to this code of ethics officer and accountability for board pay and executive pay within the CSU, part of their strategy was a canvas of other student unions, pretty much at other similar sized universities around the lower mainland, look into how they did their timekeeping and how much they were paying their executives to sort of see if that would change anything about the way we did ours. And they also mentioned a student survey that would be sent out by October 20th, asking for the opinions of the members of the student union. And as of today and as of the general meeting, I have seen no updates on either of those things. So I asked Harjo, pretty much said it's part of the 5-year plan. So they're just working internally now, and at some point, I suppose they're going to maybe put out that survey, and students most likely will just have to keep an eye on that in any of the upcoming board of directors meetings. Yeah, so after the question and answer period finished, all of the board of directors members introduced themselves, and Harjo basically emphasized, if you have any questions, you can talk to any of them. You can find them in the CSU offices. They do have all of their personnel up on their website. So if you want to get in contact with any of them or just kind of know their names and faces, so if you see them around campus, you can ask them questions. You can check their website. And yeah, after they introduced themselves, they adjourned the meeting. And I believe the next planned general meeting, like I said before a million times, is in February. So everybody should show up to that so they can vote on the resolutions. That was a very rough rundown. The full video will also be published on our YouTube. And yeah, I think that's it.